This is fight 267. It was down in the south of Thailand in Songkhla. And this is the broadcast version of the fight. So there is the announcer. It looks really nice. And there's some commercials in between. This is the promoter. Pidet means duck. And it's actually a play name of a few Southerners who I know. Jaron Tong is also, his play name is also Bet, which is a duck. So he's announcing me and my opponent. This was a rematch against Aiyara, who I had previously fought in Karchuk. She's all the way from Udon, which is way up in Asan, up by the border. And so the last time I fought her, her name was Aiyara. This time her name is Pet Aiyara, which adding a pet or a yod to someone's name is something that might happen. And she was fighting with the sponsor's name. So she's Karchuk Herb Muay Thai 100%. The announcer talks a lot about how pretty she is, and a lot of the Thais, they're holding the ropes wrong for her. They're holding it so that she can go through. And now the announcer is chastising them. He's like, you have to lift the bottom rope so that they can go under. They were holding it like how, I don't know, announcers or whoever would go through for women. It has to be the bottom rope. A lot of the Thai men who follow me who love female Muay Thai, they're very big fans of female Muay Thai. They also talked about how cute my opponent is. I think she's very, very cute to Thai aesthetics. This is my second fight as Sylvie Kemical X, being announced as such as I come out. I've been fighting down in the south, my last two fights. So we have this rehearsal of like coming out and shadow boxing. They got the ropes right for me, which is very nice. I got to just duck under easily. She had to go much lower because they were holding it wrong. So I had found out, unfortunately, the day before, we had some kind of media event, which was to promote this upcoming show. It's live on Facebook. They have sponsors. It's a pretty big event. It was pretty well attended. And there was a media event the day before that we went to, and it was while this promoter, this announcer, was talking about me and my opponent to the camera that I discovered this was a 3-round fight. I was not happy about that. I don't like 3-round fights. I generally don't accept them. And so it was a little bit of a like last minute, not quite last minute, day before surprise that it was going to be 3 rounds. And while it is Karchuk in the sense of that we're not wearing gloves, we're wearing the ropes, there was going to be points awarded. So normally in Karchuk, you can either win or lose by knockout only, otherwise it's a draw. And I had previously knocked out this opponent in round 3, so I've won against her before in Karchuk rules. But today was like modified Karchuk, where they were going to be giving a score. I ended up being very nervous about this fight because it was modified Karchuk. Again, I don't fight 3-round fights, so it was like kind of in my head about it being 3 rounds and being modified, so there's going to be a score. Like, it just felt very weird. The announcers are very complimentary of me. They're talking about how at my weight, 46 kilos, there's no one in the world who can fight me at that weight. Also using that to point out the size difference between me and Pet Aiyara, who this fight is listed at 50 kilos, but neither of us weigh that. I would guess she's around 55, maybe 56, and I'm 45, 46 lately. My fight previous to this, 266, was also down in the south in Patalung, and I weighed in a little bit under 44 for that fight. So there's a pretty big size difference between the two of us, but that's not unusual for my fights. So this is a local crowd down in Songkhla in the south, and they were pretty excited for the entire event, which was cool. And Hippie Singmani did not book this fight for me, but he came to help support me, and I actually didn't know who my corner was going to be for this fight when we got there. I thought I was going to have to like ask the promoter for someone, and it turned out that a man who owns a gym down in Patalung who had cornered for me in my last fight was there with one of his fighters, so he ended up cornering for me again. So I've been helped by Hippie and his friends for my last 2 fights, which is really cool. I think Pet Aiyara and I are wearing the same size shorts, but they look very different on us. It demonstrates the difference in our size, for sure. She seems to really, really love Muay Thai. She's got, actually, you'll see when she stands up, she has a tattoo across her back, just above the waistline of her shorts. You can see it there. And below her crop top, it says Muay Thai in Thai. And I think she has like a little Ram Muay figure tattooed on her. She has quite a few sakyant. She has more of them than she had the last time we fought. And she's got this like crazy red braid predator hair that I've never fought someone with that kind of thing before. Definitely whipping you in the face when you're fighting. Looks nice though. Suits her. She has a really beautiful Ram Muay. It's quite elaborate, quite long, but she does it really well. It has a lot of elements in it that are very beautiful. She has the mirror and kind of painting the face and checking part. She's very nice rhythm in it. So because her Ram Muay is so long, the announcer, this is not the same announcer as the promoter, this is someone else who's sitting closer to the stage. He's just talking about like the different sponsors, and a lot of times Chuek, it's on TV usually. Right now it's on Facebook Live, but there are a lot of viewers. When it travels around, I've fought all over the country for Chuek. They kind of use these shows as promotion for the area that you're fighting in. It's a little bit of a like tourist promotion. So he's talking a little bit about Songkhla locally. The area that we're fighting in is called Muang Ngam. It's on the back of the referee's shirt. So they're talking about that a little bit as well. Normally we fight Siam Karchuk is the name of the show. Now it's being called Siam Fight, I think. It's like a slightly different promotion than it was before. Same promoter, but again, it's 3 rounds, so there's been some changes. So now here's the promoter again. He's introducing 2 local people of importance. They're up on the VIP stage, so they're going to come down and do the honor of putting these flower garlands on each of us. This is very common for fights out in temporary rings or provinces, to have VIPs come out and put the garlands on fighters. You'll see it in like permanent stadia, but they don't always use really important people. Sometimes they'll let people from the audience do this, like in Hua Hin, and then Chiang Mai started doing that as well. That's why they were holding the ropes in the middle for Pet Aiyara, is they didn't know that she had to go under, so they were holding it the way they held it for these guys to go through. You can see her sakyant there. She's got a really beautiful lotus one on her right arm. So they're giving us each a tip, like a bonus of 1,000 baht. So each man gave us each 1,000 baht. So you got like a 2,000 baht bonus before even fighting the fight, which is pretty cool. The announcer is saying they already have a kadua. Kadua is the word for, it literally means body price, but it's like what a fighter gets paid. So he's like, this is in addition to the kadua. I don't know who this man was who was doing my mongkon. Initially, when I was on the stage, Hippie came over and said he was going to do it. But then he stood kind of back from my corner, but didn't actually put my mongkon on or take my mongkon off. It was this man. I assume he's like a local official of some kind that is friends with Hippie and the man who is in my corner. The mongkon is usually reserved for someone of pretty high status. These ring card girls were pretty hot. I don't see them dressed quite like this a lot. They'll wear like jean shorts and a crop top or something like that. These ones were wearing this like pleather mini dress, and they had 3 of them, so there was 1 for each round. So you got a different girl for each round. And this man in the corner for Pet Aiyara recognized me straight away. The day before when we went to the media event, he was the first person to recognize me, and I didn't know who he was until I saw him with her, and I was like, oh, but he definitely, like, when I arrived, he was like, eye contact, there's Sylvie. He's trying to find her mouthpiece. Pet Aiyara is actually a little bit well known for this huge blue gummy mouthpiece. In her like fight poster photos, she often has this mouthpiece in. You can see our size difference there. So I remembered in our last fight she did leg kicks that really hurt and head kicks that really hurt. And so I was trying to circle left to try to cut off her right side a little bit and kind of be aware of the low kick and the high kick. So it's a little bit her right side versus my left side. So the announcer is talking about how I'm a fighter from America. I have a lot of experience fighting in Thailand. I didn't realize I threw the first head kick, but there we go. She came back with an elbow. It was nice. So I've been working a lot on punching. There's her head kick. That one's nice. In Chuek, if it's true Chuek and there's no points, you really don't have to like kick. Oh, there's a head kick that landed. And she does this very deep bow. She's like performing a very polite woman, even though she's kicking me in the head. She's like doing harsh, nasty strikes and then like apologizing for them. It's an interesting performance. She apologized to the referee because she grabbed the rope, which is a foul. That's a good thing to apologize for. If you do something like that, apologizing to the ref with a Y is common. I'm trying to punch her. Punches don't score that high in normal Muay Thai, but in Chuek you don't have gloves on, so it's pretty good. This thing I'm doing with my hand is she had her fingers out and I got poked in the eye with my fingers, so I just showed her with my fingers that her fingers were out, and she apologized to me. I didn't involve the ref in that. Got a 1-2 on the body. This is kind of new for me in my last 3 fights, being able to punch the body. Maybe 4, actually. That fight against Balmy, I was punching her body a lot. You can see our size difference there, like totally eclipsed against the ropes. So the promoter announcer is talking a little bit about how much Aiyara is going backwards, and that in Chuek you really don't have to go backwards. It's not a scoring kind of thing, so you kind of want to be clashing more. You want to be coming forward a lot. But it's interesting that he's saying this because they are going to give a score in this fight. So you're kind of fighting a hybrid of Chuek and Muay Thai. Oh, Thot hua means to like take your head out. So she escaped by pulling her head out, which generally you shouldn't be able to do. It's very dangerous, but I didn't really punish her on it. End of round 1. So this is just going to be a commercial break on the live feed. So Muay Thai Boran Khat Chuek is Muay Thai, Boran is ancient, and then Khat Chuek. So like people in the West will ask about Muay Boran and they'll ask about Khat Chuek. They're kind of separate from each other. Muay Boran is not entirely what we think of it as in the West, as being this like specific set of things. You'll see people in these outfits doing this performance in Ayutthaya and stuff like that, but Muay Boran is really the techniques of old Muay Thai, like ancient Muay Thai, and Khat Chuek is kind of an older form. Prior to it becoming stadium Muay Thai and ring Muay Thai, it had rules and knockout or nothing kind of things going on. So it's, while Muay Thai, Muay Boran, and Khat Chuek are all kind of separate from each other in that they have distinctions, they're all Muay Thai, but they're not super distinct from each other in terms of like what each one means specifically. I'm pretty calm now. I was nervous before the fight, but then I got very calm actually in the fight. My corner man, there's Hippie in black there. He looks nice. My corner man in the yellow, the guy who's actually in the ring with me, he was with me in my last fight, and he's telling me to punch her body more. It's interesting to have him for 2 fights in a row because now he kind of has an idea of what I am. They saw me fight a girl who weighed in pretty much the same as me and then fight someone who's like 10 kilos more than me. And they're like, all right, we've got to punch the body and clinch fighter here. So she's aware of my going left now a little bit more. She's responding a little bit differently. She's using more teeps to kind of time my turn. Nice little like sweep out of the way there and kick by her. She does love to go backwards and time the kick. For regular Muay Thai, this is like a classic femur style, nice head kick. That one hit my ear and wrecked my ear. Like I basically have the feeling of cauliflower ear starting. You can see how red my ear is there actually. This is something that stays painful for weeks after a fight. So the announcer here is talking about our size difference, and he's actually saying that I have to fight someone as much bigger than me as Pet Aiyara is, because at 46 kilos, my actual weight, nobody could fight me. Says there's nobody who fight at her normal weight, so she fights much bigger. Oh God, you can see that size there. I like that body punch on the way in though. I'm getting her into the ropes and then not rushing into the ropes. This is something that I got her head through the ropes and threw an elbow, and she is calling this as a foul. I don't think it is in Karchit. I don't know if it would be in Muay Thai either. The referee didn't seem to care at all. But not rushing when I get her on the ropes like this is something that comes from my sparring every day with Yod Pan. He's really, really helped me with not rushing through that space. That's how I knocked her out in our last fight, but again, she's able to like duck out backwards, which you're not supposed to be able to do, so I'm kind of letting her out a little bit. I've got my head under her jaw, which breaks her posture and makes it very hard for her to have power to rip me off of her. Oh, that was kind of a delayed slip over. She's not happy. It's okay. My pace in my last few fights has been quite nice. It comes from the same thing as this not rushing through the space when she's on the ropes, but even my coming forward is not super rushed. I have a nice kind of like steady turn. She just cannot get me off of her, and she can't really counter. She kind of pulled me down with her against the ropes there. That was actually a good hold from her part to break my posture. If I had ripped her down and stayed upright, it would have been huge for me. But my elbows are coming out now. There's an elbow there. My knees and elbows are working together, getting past her wall of China with knees. Not fun for her. That punch was good. I actually got her in this headlock in our first fight, which I think is a foul. I like grabbed her and headlocked her, and I got warned by the ref. So this one, I got her in that same position and then pulled my arm out and started like pushing and kneeing, making an adjustment to not grab in a headlock, which I think you're not allowed to do. It's interesting when you fight people more than once because you remember each other. There's usually time between the two fights. Not always when I fight in Chiang Mai. Sometimes I'll fight the same opponent frequently, like every other fight or something. And so there's not a lot of time to change between those fights, but you're used to each other, and so you know how to make adjustments to each other and that kind of thing. That's why I think rematches are actually quite difficult, rather than people being like, oh, I already beat that person, so I never have to fight them again, or they already beat me, so clearly I can't beat them. Like, anything can happen in a fight. For Aiyara and I, it's been, I think, a year since we fought each other, and so both of us have changed significantly. So there are things that we're doing with each other that we weren't doing in our last fight, which is possibly because of what was available in the last fight, but also how we've grown as fighters. But even with a year between the last fight and this one, I'm like, watch out for that head kick, and then still have been head kicked like 3 times. Her backup and fire is really nice. So This is the last round. It's the third round. And Hippie had yelled at me from the corner. He was like, Sylvie, filme technique yang diao. So he's like, just use technique in the third round. Like, the way you would a 5-round fight in the last round when you're already winning, where you just kind of like show form and use technique and not like dern so hard. I smiled at him, like I laughed, because one, that's not really the kind of fighter I am, but two, I understand why he's telling me to do that. If you've already won, then you use that opportunity within a fight to kind of work on your ability to show. I'm lying to the promoters because the announcers are talking about how I speak Thai, so I was acknowledging that I could understand them. So while my corner was like, Sylvie, technique yang diao, like just do technique, she's like, fuck that. She's still trying to like nail me with these heavy kicks. I'm coming forward because I come forward. So basically I had a confusing third round because that knee is so nice, and then I like bounced off of it. It looked incredibly intense, and head kicks and elbows. She is going for it. So my corner's like, be technical, and her corner's like, kill her. It was a very confusing last round for me because we're fighting it as though it's a 5-round fight that I've already won on points, and so I should be kind of like doing technical stuff. But then her memo was to go hard. It's Chuek in my head, so I'm like, you don't back up in Chuek ever. And actually the promoter announcer is on the announcement. He's talking to Aiyara, and he's like, you don't have to back up so much. It's Chuek. Like, don't toy. He's like, don't go backwards so much, especially when you've already lost. Like, it should be more of a chon. So if it's Sylvie dern, mai dong ni, he's telling her you don't have to run. Like, you don't have to escape. Oh, knees to the head. She's not happy about that. I looked at my corner and they're like, just dance a little bit. I'm just incredibly confused because of the kind of fighter I am, because it's Chuek, but not really Chuek. They're giving points. How do I perform this last round? I have danced off the last round in fights, like the last 30 seconds or a minute or something like that. But I could not get myself in my head to be like, you dance backwards in a Chuek fight, even though it's modified rules, even though it's only 3 rounds. So you're seeing Sylvie have like a howl moment of having like 2 separate orders going on in my head and not being able to deal with it. She's coming hard here. So I've got my head in, but I'm not pushing her head up the way I was earlier. So she's able to rip herself to the side and put her leg over me. If I had been pushing up under her jaw, it would have broken her posture enough. She wouldn't have had enough power to rip me to the side like that. But if you basically act as though none of that meant anything in the long run of this fight, it is true. I already put in all of the dominance to win this fight, even with like a big rip on the side at the end there. So you'll see this like going to your knees to apologize after a fight. It's a show of respect to your opponent. It's a like, we're friends. That was, you know, you do what you have to do within the fight, but usually it's the younger fighter showing respect to an older fighter. Winning on points in a Chuek fight is so strange. I've lost on points in what was not a Chuek fight before. It was 5 rounds, and it was again modified where they gave a score, but like didn't tell me before the fight. So this was in Songkla, modified Chuek fight 267.
Songkla, which is South Thailand. I've now fought down here 5 times, which is crazy, not Songkla, but in the south. And I've never been to Songkla before. This is our first time. And I fought on what I thought was going to be Chuek, but it's like modified Chuek rules. It was only 3 rounds, and it was allowing for points rather than just a knockout or draw. ชนะแล้ว 3 ยก ขอบคุณค่ะ ที่นี่ So this is fight 267. I really like this promoter. I like this promotion, and Hippie was here, which was really cool. So I got to see him before my fight, and I got to hear him while the kids were like taking my ropes off. He made the same joke, but on a microphone that he made in my last fight, which was that he brings me to these fights in the South, and then I fight like decently. But he was not in my corner, but you know, like kind of behind my corner during the fight. And it's only 3 rounds, which I don't like 3 round fights. If I'd known it was 3 rounds, it would have been quite different on the way down. But he was like, Sylvie, just be more, like in round 3. I was like, I don't even know if I can do that. But I was rematching a girl that I fought on real Karchuk maybe like a year and a half ago. Her name is Aiyara. She's from Ubon. Ini si Ngatao. Ni young. But so I won this one on points, even though it was supposed to be Karchuk. We did have Karchuk wraps, and all these kids were like geeking out watching me wrap my own hands with the Karchuk wraps, which is really cool. So that was fun. We're being walked to our car by the parking assistants.
He needs the ticket. I got it.
You have it. So, fight 267 in the books. This counts as a points win, modified Karchuk. I really want to fight real Karchuk. It's my favorite. So hopefully I'll get to fight Karchuk again soon because it's so much fun. She's much bigger than me. A lot of people were commenting on the photos that Kevin posted, that we posted before this fight, how much bigger she is than me, but they were talking about how big she is. She's a normal sized person. I'm just really small. So the difference in her size to my size makes her seem big, but she's not a huge person. She's actually also a small person. So thank you guys who watched the live stream. Thank you to my sponsors, Onyx MMA and Low Blow. Always wearing my Low Blow. I actually like how people are like, what the hell is that when I'm putting it on? So that makes me happy. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon. Thank you.
จอมซาดิสนะครับจากอเมริกาเลยครับพิกัด 45-46 กิโลกรัมเนี่ยหาทั่วโลกเลยครับขอเสียงปรบมือดังๆต้อนรับซินวีแคมิคอนเอ็กซ์ใช้ได้เป็นมวยแล้วกรรมการชี้ขาดบนเวทีนะครับใช้กรรมการอุทัยโชติอัมพรนะครับมวยคู่นี้3 ยกเหมือนกันนะครับคาดเชือกนะครับคาดเชือกของจริงนะครับเดี๋ยวชม
Okay, everybody. I had to start the video. For some reason, the camera won't record sideways. I had to start the video again, and we're going to have to film it vertically. I got another camera that I'm going, so I'm kind of two-handing this. So it's going to be pretty shaky.
เป็นการชกกันของเพชรอัยราคาดเชือกมวยไทยจากจังหวัดอุดรธานี
This is Sylvie's 267th fight.
วันนี้ชกในพิกัด50 กิโลกรัมซินวีแหมดูรูปร่างดูหุ่นนี่ไม่ได้บ่งบอกว่าเป็นมวยหญิง
This is a rematch against a girl that she fought in Karchuk
เอาใจช่วยเจ้าเพชรอัยราไว้ก่อน
maybe a year ago.
วันนี้นี่ดูท่าทางว่าจะเจอศึกหนักครับ
We're not sure how much she weighs, but it looks like she's about 55 kilos,
ปอดสักของกรรมการอุทัยโชติอัมพร
which would be about 9 kilo difference. Sylvie's walking around at 40, 60 these days.
สำหรับผู้ชนะรับกระปิพุ่งอย่างดี ไม่ได้เป็นโอกาสบ่อยครั้งนะที่จะมีรางวัลเป็นกระปิให้กับมวยเป็นพิเศษว่ามวยที่ชนะ
We're a big venue.
เพราะว่าถ้ามวยแพ้เนี่ยกินน้ำแกงไม่ได้
Lots in the crowd.
มวยชนะก็ยังกินน้ำแกงได้กระปิพุ่งอย่างดีของกรรมการอุทัยโชติอัมพรเขยยะลาเป็นเขยยะลานะกรรมการอุทัยวันนี้เป็นหัวหน้าชุดแล้วก็ขึ้นทำหน้าที่ตรงนี้ในคู่นี้ด้วย
So a little bit of context. This is a Karchuk fight, but not the typical Karchuk fight. Normally a Karchuk fight is rope wraps, 5 rounds, no decision, it's KO or nothing. This fight is 3 rounds. We're told it's 3 rounds, 3 minutes, but we're not sure. And there will be a decision. So it's kind of like a hybrid, modified Karchuk rule fight. The crowd kind of erupts at Sylvie's stomp in the corner. Some people applaud.
โทรทัศน์ทีวีหรือจะเป็นเฟซบุ๊กไลฟ์จะได้รับข่าวข่าวสารซึ่งตรงนี้ก็ต้องชื่นชมกับความงดงามในการถ่ายทอดศิลปะมวยไทย
This is the promoter who is usually with the main Karchuk show that Sylvie's fought on 12 times, I believe. Her opponent has very elaborate red braids, extensions. I think she's very up for this fight, having lost to Sylvie before. She might really put her size on her more. This is the normal Karchuk promotion, and we thought it was going to be a normal Karchuk fight, so we were like, yeah, for sure, we love fighting for you. But they they presented modified rules when we got here. Not that big a deal. Also, usually in Karchuk fights, if you don't know this, there's usually a thin MMA padding glove that goes under the ropes. It's not really an MMA glove. It's not that much protection. It's like a small half glove, fingerless glove of a little bit of foam. In this case, they didn't have it. So these are much harder, true Karchuk wraps. Something that may have a telling in this fight. It's basically tape and rope. Every other Karchuk fight you see in Thailand has the thin extra layer of a little bit of padding. Hey Kevin, I think that she did get that from Master K, but I don't exactly remember. She got her whole raw Muay basically from Master K, but then she's added a couple of things along the way. Not a lot though, most of it came directly from Master K. Master K is her first teacher, if anyone doesn't know. She started training with him in his basement in New Jersey. He was like maybe 72 years old or so, in his 70s. She trained with him one-on-one for several years, a couple years. It was an incredible experience. Somebody handing a bot tip, like a VIP handing a bot tip to both fighters. Another bot tip, that's very nice.
Sylvie โอเคเลยขอบคุณครับปรบมือดังๆอีกสักครั้งครับขอบคุณครับ
Master K is amazing. He gave Sylvie her fire for Muay Thai. He's now 80 plus years old, still training people in his basement in New Jersey. Master K's Muay Thai although he's modified over the years, is probably the oldest Muay Thai Sylvie's ever trained. He trained with legends, old school traditional fighters. We were just thinking nobody has an older Muay Thai that Sylvie's trained with than Master K.
หัวใจใหญ่กว่าตับครับนี่ครับเป็นตำรวจที่ต้องบอกว่าให้การร่วมมือและการสนับสนุนทุกวงการนะครับสำหรับดาบตกทางหลวงนะเป็นพี่ชายที่น่ารักเลยครับ
Ref checking for mouthpiece.
สิงหนครนะครับไปใช้บริการกันได้นะครับ
If you're just joining us, I have 2 cameras going, so
ร้านครัวลุงปุกนะ
the camera work's going to be pretty all over the place. I'm sorry, guys. I had to shoot in vertical with the phone for some reason.
เพชรอัยยาราภาคเชือกเพิ่มมวยไทย 100%ชมครับมวยคู่นี้ภาคเชือกใส่กัน3 ยกครับยกที่ 1อาจารย์ประภาสเชิญเลยครับ
Big thing we thought was going left. When she fought before, this girl had a very strong low kick and a nice head kick, both with the right leg.
มาพันมือแล้วก็ต่อยในลักษณะของเอาเชือกมาพัน
There's a big high kick.
เจอศึกหนักแน่วันนี้เจ้าเพชรอัยยารา
Sylvie's going left, which is usually pretty good. Threw her big left hook, but missed. This girl's taking it very easy. She's fought Sylvie before, so she knows that Sylvie's strong in the clinch. Sylvie landed big chopping elbow by Red. That was a very nice elbow. She elbowed right on the clinch grab, which is really smart. It was like an axe elbow. And that's that head kick that she has, which is really nice. Sylvie's trying to crowd her. Head kick lands. Head kick lands. There was some kind of apology. I'm not sure why. Sylvie gets turned around. Elbow from Red. Clinch broken right away. Lots of elbows from Red. Ref, maybe Red. Body shot from Sylvie. Inside leg kick from Sylvie. She's tracking her pretty good. Sylvie can't reach her with that hook. Red is keeping pretty good distance. The pace is not great for 3 rounds. A 1-2 to the body by Sylvie. Here's the first clinch up. Face smush from Red. Couple knees by Sylvie. Another knee by Sylvie. You got to get her off the ropes because she's so large. A little frustration by Red in her face. Another side clinch by Sylvie. This is a very good position for her. Very good position. Another knee to the body. Knee to the body. Again, tied up on the ropes. Red's starting to tire a little bit. Little slap down hand trap by Sylvie with an elbow. Sylvie got a very high guard. Threw a bounce sock elbow. Sylvie in the lock. Breaking the rope. Body shot hook. Very nice by Sylvie. She's starting to claim the space a little bit. Inside leg kick. So I think what you saw in that first round, slow stalking. Sylvie, off the rope. Telling Sylvie she's got to get off the rope on those clinch grabs. So slow stalking, 3-round fight. You can't be slow. Red's in long retreat. She looks like Red has thrown some really nice, nasty elbows on Sylvie's clinch grab to try to discourage her from grabbing and to keep her at a longer distance. So as usual, it's a war over space.
กับพยานศาลาในประสงค์ครับเทศบาลเมืองผู้งามนะครับกับศึกษาไพโรนักผู้งามเพื่อการกุศล ต้องขอขอบคุณครับน้ำดื่มตราบันดีครับสดชื่นทุกหยดสะอาดทุกขวดบริษัทเทียนหยางนะครับศูนย์จำหน่ายรถไฟฟ้าทุกชนิดครับรับตัวแทนจำหน่ายทั่วประเทศนะครับ074-398-899
A few of those head kicks landed, but lightly. So Sylvie kind of looked like towards the end of that round, learned the lesson to keep her hands up. Sylvie, we've got to pull her off the rope because when it gets to the rope, the ref will break the clinch. Sylvie wants the clinch to continue. Also, with Sylvie's smaller size, she's going to get swallowed up on the rope. Here she is going left. Well, loose head kick. She's mirroring red a little bit. Red's backing up very nicely. Oh, there's that axe elbow. That head kick landed. Sylvie's starting to chase a little bit. Body shot by Sylvie. Sylvie's starting to go right a little bit, which isn't good. Now she has her in the lock. Ref is breaking the clinch early now, which isn't good for Sylvie. Sylvie's starting to... Nice kick. Ref is breaking the clinch very fast, favoring red a little bit. Sylvie got a hook in. Sylvie. Oh, elbow. That was pretty good. Red is pissed. Sylvie threw an elbow when Red's head was out of the ring. Red is fearful right now. Sylvie's stalking with her. Sylvie got a lock. Big knee in the middle of the ring. Red. Big knee. Big knee. Don't let it go to the ropes. Don't let it go to the ropes. Red is escaping. Sylvie got her guard up. Long clinch by Sylvie. Look at that long clinch. Oh, it's really good. Little face smush, elbow to the face. Overwhelming Red. Took her back. Oh, big knee. Sylvie's starting to smell blood. Hook to the hook cross. Red is getting tired. Sylvie got the lock again. Big knee. In the middle of the ring. In the middle of the ring. Big knees. Big knees. Big knees. In the middle of the ring. Drag to the corner. Drag to the ropes. Sylvie's starting to stalk hard. Got a very high guard. Elbow. Big knee. Big knee. Big knee. So we got to keep that guard up. Oh, nice pull down. Big knee. Big knee. Elbow. Big knee. Sylvie getting a little bit tired. Red must be very tired. Very dominant round. Nice, slow, measured fighting. Not rushing. If you notice, no rushing. Red looks a little bit overwhelmed, tired. She's standing, she's not seated in her corner. The girl is very tough. She's big. She's probably got 9 kilos on Sylvie. Sylvie gave me a smile. Sylvie's got to avoid the elbows and the head kicks. Keep her guard high.
ศบาลเมือง
and keep dragging her off the ropes.
บนพวกงามอำเภอศรีมหานครจังหวัดสงขลานะครับแหมตรงมุมตอนนี้เพชรอัยยาแต่ยังสวยอยู่นะอาจารย์นะดูถ่ายทอดสดยังสวยอยู่นะเพชรอัยยา
Very nice stalking work. You saw some elbows coming out from her work with Yot Kumpan, the elbow hunter, who's been kind of invaluable to bringing Sylvie to the next level.
จะรอดไม่รอดครับเพชรอัยยาซินวี่จะเป็นผู้ให้คำตอบโหนะซินวี่นี่ประเภทท่านผู้ชมที่ชมอยู่นะใครที่ดูชมซินวี่นี่ประเภทแบบไม่มีการอ่อนข้อนะ
หนุ่มๆจะเป็นแซวนะอยู่ใกล้ๆเมื่อไหร่โอ้โหแกตีแต่ละดอกแต่ละเม็ดดี
นี่รักมวยไทยเป็นชีวิตจิตใจครับซินวี่พูดไทยได้จัง
ครับ
Red's taking a while to come out of the corner,
ต่อยมวยคาดเชือก
which is actually a
15-16 ไฟ
strategy to gain a little extra wind. Often, I don't know if there's commercial breaks or not. Sylvie galloping left hard, inside leg kick, trading low kicks. Sylvie smacked her with a jab a little bit. Sylvie got a little gallop on her, trying a little running hook. There's her gallop. Nice. Red just did a little styling on Sylvie. Crowd is really pulling for Red. Crowd is really pulling for Red. Red is trying to ride on Sylvie, trying to style on Sylvie. Sylvie got a grab on her again. Boy. Sylvie held the lock a little bit. Body shot by Sylvie. Red is trying to smother her. Sylvie got her head down. Here comes Sylvie. Block the pump, block the kick. Oh, big knee. Big knee to the head. Big knee to the head. Sylvie backing up now, making Red come forward. It's a good move. Her corner's telling her to dance. Don't go forward, Sylvie. What is she doing? I don't know why she's going forward. She should be dancing away from her. Her natural aggression. There, big knee. Big knee. Big knee. Big knee. No. It was a big mistake for Sylvie to engage her after she started dancing off. As you saw, it gave Red a chance to score a point and to write a different script. Let's see what the judges say. Sylvie pretty much dominated this fight, but we'll see. Sylvie gets the decision.
เอาชนะคะแนนเพชรอัยยาคาดเชือกเฮิร์บมวยไทย 100% ไปเมื่อชกกันครบ3 ยกนะครับขอเสียงปรบมือดังๆสักครั้งนะครับ
Tough fight, tough girl. Giving up 9 kilos. Sylvie going up, down, go get her shoes.
โอเคครับพักสักครู่ครับเดี๋ยวกลับมาว่ากันต่อ
There she is going to go get her shoes. We'll meet her on the other side. You can see the crowd.
ซินวี่เรียนเชิญซินวี่ที่ด้านร้านน้ำนะประดับน้ำครับเชิญ
Looks
ซิน
like
วี่
it's
ด้านทิศตะวันออก
starting to rain.
แฟนคลับเนี่ยหาซินวี่เชิญนะ
เอาซินวี่ครับไปที่น้ำดื่มมันดิฟเลยครับซินวี่ครับเชิญไปที่น้ำดื่มมันดิฟหน่อยครับซินวี่ครับ
We'll see Sylvie as she comes back around. We're in the parking lot here.
ผู้ผ่านมา3 คู่
ทองมีนะครับประธานชมรมกำนันผู้ใหญ่บ้านอำเภอสิงห์นครนะครับเป็นผู้
This is the big event. They had like an hour of a musical concert. Oh, thank you. Oh, here's Sylvie.
ไอ้ตอนได้ลูกผลที่
ต่อไปครับคุณเล็กนครศรี
Oh, look at this little kid's guard. He's ready.
เดี๋ยวรอคุณเล็กนครศรีก่อนนะครับต่อไปครับคุณสันทนัทวิชาพานิชกรรมการผู้จัดการบริษัทโอโยเทคนิคจำกัดนะครับก็มี10,000 บาทให้กับท่านผู้กำกับนะครับเป็นน้ำผลไม้คุกบุกครับนี่มอบเงิน
This was her corner in the white shirt to her right, our left.
สนับสนุนเต็มที่มอบให้อีก10,000นะครับแก่คุณสันทนัทนะครับวิชาพานิชนะครับน้ำผลไม้เล็กนครศรีนะครับผมเป็นอะไรครับเป็นเล็กนครศรีครับนี่ครับ
ขอเลขก่อน
เล็กนี่บอก12,000เรียกว่า12,000นะครับเล็กนครศรีเรียกมาต่อยด้วยนะครับหัวใจยังมาต่อครับ
Looks like that's the tip that they got from
ต่อไปครับบริษัทคุณ
the beginning of the.
คัสเตอร์นะครับโดยดาบตำรวจวิก
Oh, cup. The beginning of the event.
หลักเต็มๆนะทีนี้นะครับ
Man, that was a very tough physical ask. Sylvie doesn't really like 3-round fights. We usually turn down 3-round fights. It's not Muay Thai. The narrative of Muay Thai is not present in 3-round fights. And as much as we can, we try to draw a line with fighting traditional Muay Thai. We come all the way to Thailand. We put so much work into the Muay Thai Library. We try to preserve the traditional scoring form. So right now, as a matter of principle, we try to avoid 3-round fights as long as we can. This was we thought it was a 5-round fight. We came down. It was a 3-round fight. Not that big a deal. But people ask, why don't you fight such and such promotion, such and such? There's a few reasons, but one of them is we're kind of committed to the traditional form of Muay Thai. It's Thailand. There's plenty of other people celebrating and amplifying the other forms of Muay Thai too, so we're just a voice on the other side. Sweet Pea. She says thank you for watching. Thank you guys. Thank you for being with us, Fight 267. Hopefully there's another one, 268 in January. We'll see, nothing's confirmed. Okay guys, thank you.